All right, good morning. First thing I got to do is get rid of this beautiful face so you don't have to watch me. You can focus on what I'm saying. All right, guys, this presentation is going to be about money. I need everybody to listen up and pay attention to this. Bad news first. We're only funded through the first half of our season. I was talking to David, the coach at Holden, and I asked, so how much money do you get for each kid per year? How much does it cost to run the program? He told me, he said it was about $300 a kid. To me, that seemed kind of excessive. I'm kind of like, well, where's all that money going? Well, as I've gotten into it, I've found out where that money goes, and he's not being excessive or greedy. Because your first question is, I just paid $100. Where'd that money go? Well, your lifting suit's $30, your wraps are $20, and your belt's $20. So right there's $70. And then your entry fees, which is about $30, this will cover about half of your entry fees. Because I thought entry fees were $10 an athlete. They're $20 an athlete. So we have 4 meets. So just your entry fees are $80 this year. So if you paid $100 and then spent $70 and then it's still $80, you can see that math gets into negative numbers real quick. So we're going to have to raise a little bit more money. We're not trying to be greedy. We're trying to raise about $1,500. If we get more, that's amazing. But if we don't, that's okay. If we can get $1,500, we can pay our expenses and we can get you guys some workout gear and warm-ups. I want you to look like a team. I don't want you guys lifting in school shirts and school shorts. That's not the best thing to be lifting in. I want us to look like a team. So we got a dual meet set up with Pope John Paul. The agreement was Pope John Paul would host. They've got an incredible facility, and they're going to host it. We're going to pay for the officials. Well, there's $400. For us to be able to do this, we had to register with the LHSPLA, which is the Louisiana High School Powerlifting Association. To register as a club with them, it's $200. So our expenses this year, before we've actually entered anything, are going to be $600. We had to get some necessary equipment to make our weight room safe for powerlifting, like the power rack. I got three new bars and 2 bumper plates. That cost $800. I raised the money for that myself. I taught a class and donated the money. But I can't keep doing that. So hotels for states, if we make it to states, we got to stay up there for 2 nights in Monroe, $100 a piece per room, roughly. It's usually what you can budget. We'll have to have a minimum of 2 rooms. Pretty soon, there's $400. We raised about $600 through physicals to start powerlifting. You paid that $10 a person for your physicals. That's money was actually, we were going to donate to the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic Foundation. Well, they turned around and donated it back to us to help our powerlifting program start. So we started the season with about $600, and it cost us $600 right off the bat. So I'm understanding now where $300 an athlete comes from. So how do other teams make money? One, they host a meet, concession gate. They host a meet, $20 a lifter. Let's say you have a meet, you let 100 lifters come lift. $20 a lifter, that's $2,000 that you make. You pay for the officials, that's $700-800. You make $1,200. Not counting what you make in the concession stand and what you pay for having people walk in the door. The $2 or $3 you charge people for walking in the door. So when you add all that together, that's one of the ways that teams can fund their program. We can't do that. We don't have the right equipment to do that. We don't have enough weight to do that. So that's not an option for us. So we got to figure out something else. And I wanted to do something that would be fast and something that would be easy. And a Lifta-thon if you take it seriously, there's been places that I've worked at that have had lift-a-thons that have made tremendous amount of money. Dutchtown used to do a lift-a-thon every year, and they would make several $1,000s. I'm talking like $10,000 or $20,000 off of their lift-a-thon. There's a school in California now. They're a football school, and they have like 80 football players, and they're from an area that's got a lot of money. They made $150,000 on a lift-a-thon. That's the only fundraiser they have to run all year. So ideally, what we want is for our lift-a-thon to be the only fundraiser we have to do. So on December 5th, put it on your calendar. We're going to have a mini meet. We're going to have a lift-a-thon. We're going to, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be our only home event. If somebody wants to come see you lift, your uncle wants to come see you lift, this is going to be its best option because it's going to be a short. We're going to start lifting about 11. We'll probably be done by about 1 or 2. They can come watch you lift. They can come take pictures of you lift, and they can do whatever they want. This is going to be our only home event, and it's going to kind of be a meet the team type thing too. You are going to be maxing, squatting, benching, or you're going to do your max squat, your max bench, and your deadlift in front of a crowd. So it's going to get you used to being in front of people and lifting. So that's another reason we're doing it. I'm going to be lifting in this as well. You can compete against me. You can see how you stack up against the old man. And your weights are going to be a combined weight, just like in a powerlifting meet. Now, one of the reasons we're doing this as well is because we're running it, you don't have to worry about having officials. You don't have to worry about following commands. All you got to do is push the weight. So how do you make money off this is the question. You're going to get sponsors for every pound that you lift, all right? We're going to set up an internet. Well, we already have. We're going to set up an internet-based system for you to get your sponsorships. It's through a company called Fan Angel. They were the best company that I could find. So why do we use them? Your sponsors get invoiced on what they owe you for your lift. They receive a tax-deductible receipt, and they can pay this company online. You never have to touch the money. The company just sends us a check directly. So all you have to do is find a bunch of valid email addresses and send out an email that you don't even have to write. I send it to you to these email addresses. And they can be to your relatives all over the country. They can be your friends, whoever. And you just ask them to sponsor you. And they sponsor you. You go lift the weight. I type it into the computer, and these folks get an invoice, and they get charged. This allows you to reach out to Great Ananda from Enid, Oklahoma to sponsor you. That's a great thing. One of my lifters this morning said he thinks he has a sponsor, and it's a friend of his that has played PlayStation with and that lives in New York. So it allows us to not just worry about, one, just trying to get everything from our parents, and two, trying to get everything from the 4 or 5 people that are relatives that we know. Everybody's got kin somewhere. And all you can do is ask. If they say no, they say no. They say no. So how do you get the sponsors? This is the hardest part for students. Times are tough. Everybody knows this. Many times students assume that their parents are totally broke, so they don't even ask. Students don't like asking for money. All right? You can be honest with yourself about this. I told you the uniform in August, the end of August when we started lifting. I told you guys the $100 uniform fee was due in November. And there's still some of y'all still haven't paid it. Some of y'all put off asking for it because they just assumed that they didn't have it. My own kids do this to me. We've got the money to fund whatever they want to do, but they don't ask because they're worried about how much it's going to cost. And that's a good thing to do. That's being a good person. But in this case, folks, we got to ask. The other thing is, if you put it off, then come November, you got to come to your parents and say, hey, I need $100. Whereas if you would have discussed it with them in August when you knew the fee was coming, you could have talked to them and said, "Hey, I have this $100 fee that's due in November. Can we start putting back $10 a week?" So it is something that you have to talk about. Then the next thing that students do is they go ask their friends to help them with a fundraiser. Obviously, high school students don't have any money. They don't have jobs. Or if they have jobs, they're part-time jobs, and everything they make, they spend. So if you go ask your friends for donations, they're not going to give you any donations. If they don't give you any donations, the fundraiser fails, and eventually the program fails. So how do we make money off this activity? We have to ask people with money. We have to ask people with jobs, or we have to ask people who had jobs. Ask your grandparents, great aunts and uncles, neighbors, cousins, adult friends, teachers, businesses, your church, people with jobs. The beautiful thing about having internet-based fundraising programs, they don't even have to be local to donate to you. They can do it through your webpage. Now, when it kicks off, you're going to get a webpage that looks similar to this. This is the beta test. It's not ready to go yet, but it's getting there. And you'll email them. They'll visit your webpage. Your email is going to look real similar to this. And they'll visit your webpage and they'll pledge. One of the things that you got going for you is we're a brand new team. Nobody really knows how strong we are. So they can donate anywhere between a quarter and a nickel a pound. And it's up to them to make the decision how they want to do it. I'm asking you to get a minimum of 5 sponsors. This might mean you might have to send out 20 emails to 20 people. You can send more. If you have 120 valid email addresses, send them all an email. So how much should I ask for? Our target's going to be 10 cents a pound, but they can donate anywhere from a quarter to a nickel a pound. All donations are tax deductible, and they receive an IRS receipt from Fan Angel, which they pay with when they pay their invoice. Also, anybody that donates over 10 cents a pound will be a member of the Tiger Power Club and have their name placed on the back of our team t-shirt. All right. It's your job to get the sponsors and try to convince them to graduate. If you personally raise over $300, Powerlifting will provide you with a Doyle Powerlifting gym bag or a book sack. Your choice. If you raise over $400, we'll get you a Doyle Powerlifting hoodie and a gym bag. Remember, though, you must do your best. Oh, and the hoodies aren't just crappy hoodies. They're North Face hoodies. So this is not just for you, but your teammates as well. Take a look at what a difference some effort and some salesmanship can make. One lifter gets a nickel a pound from one sponsor. He lifts 425 pounds combined. His contribution to the team is $21.25. $21.25 is not chump change. That's $21.25 we didn't have. But you got to remember, too, a drive-through at Burger King is $10. So in reality, $20 is not a whole lot of money anymore. But it's better than nothing. All right, so one lifter gets same lift, but he gets 5 sponsors. Now, since he has 5 sponsors, that math doesn't work. But with 5, yeah, that actually does work. With 5 sponsors, he's got $212. And he gets 10 sponsors. Now he lists $425. He gets a gym bag and hoodie. All right. So that's the power that sponsors can make. This is a picture of what the hoodie looks like. Is this absolutely what it is? No. This is something I designed, but this is going to be similar, yeah. And that's what the bag looks like. All right. So am I 100% sure that this is exactly what it looks like? No. For all the people who, when they saw this rough draft of this, were like, I don't know if I like this, but I like this. It's not a fashion design. It's not a fashion show. All right. But it is what it is. All right. So there are some incentives for you to go out and raise some money. But keep this in mind. If we want to lift, we have to make some money. Guys, share this with your parents as well. I'm going to have a parent letter going home as well. Sometime beginning of the week next week, early next week, I'm going to have a whole team meeting during school because it's the only way I can seem to get you all together at the same time. But take a look at this and we'll go from there. Thanks.